Spider-Man.
Spider-Man!
When you hear the name Spider-Man, what is the first thing that pops up in your head?
Well, I don't really know.
Well, you think of spiders, right?
It's a terrible joke. But thank you for coming.
Of course you don't. What you do think of is a hero, a superhero, one that I hold so dear to my heart, because Spider-Man is not just a superhero, he is a way of life. He's the one who taught me that I always have a choice.
You always have a choice, Peter.
He's the one who taught me to always do the right thing no matter what. And he's the one who taught me to lead a life of responsibility even though things might not always go your way. I can't help but get emotional when I'm talking about my favorite fictional character of all time, and I'm really grateful that he exists. One might say that if you really get emotional talking about this character, then how biased you should be to say that one of his movies is the greatest superhero movie of all time. Well, by the end of this video, I'm sure I can change your perspective as we look deep into the beautiful psychological themes of Spider-Man 2. But hey, if Spider-Man 2 is already your favorite movie, then that is fantastic. By the end of this video, I promise you that you won't watch your favorite superhero movie the same way again. Like the most of us, I grew up watching Spider-Man, from all the movies to the TV shows. As a child, you're pretty easily amazed at everything you see, but for something to stand with you even after 15 years, that something has to be special. That special feeling is what I felt when I watched Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 for the very first time. And I feel the same way, or even more so in a special way, every single time I decide to rewatch it. Out of all the Spidey movies to put to screen, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 stands out because it captures Spider-Man at his very core.
These are the years when a man changes into the man he's going to become the rest of his life. Just be careful who you change into.
What is to be responsible? What is responsibility? To be responsible is to be honorable. It is to keep up our promises and always do the right thing no matter what. Spider-Man 2's opening credits are one of the best opening sequences you can see in any movie, with the amazing portrait arts depicting what happened in the first movie as Danny Elfman's iconic Spider-Man themes plays in the background. It is just pure perfection. The final shot of the portraits shows Peter walking away from MJ after rejecting her. He just rejected the love of his life to lead a life of responsibility. And this is the exact tone that we start the second movie with. Responsibility. The very first scene, Peter can be seen driving his scooter thing and looking behind at a massive poster of Mary Jane Watson, the love of his life. He says he sees her every day now as a picture, but you can notice in the bittersweet way he says it, because he knows MJ and him can never be together. He chose to lead a life of responsibility, one which needs him to be Spider-Man all the time, one where he is there for the people that needs him. But with MJ in the picture, that would never be possible, as he's already nearly lost her one too many times. If anything happens to her, Peter can never forgive himself. Therefore, he keeps all of his love to himself and is being Spider-Man, but everything comes at a cost. You can see that being Spider-Man is taking a huge toll on Peter's life, and he's not able to keep up with it.
You're fired.
Parker, hello, you're fired.
For a man who just wants to do the right thing, he lost his job, is always late to his classes, is always due on his rent, and he even forgot his own birthday. Peter struggles to hold his life together as he tries to follow his Uncle Ben's words.
With great power comes great responsibility.
And we wanted to move on in a way that we still beat up Peter Parker. Peter Parker has to be beat up all the time, put to the test. Job, love, life. It's like real life.
Spider-Man has always been put to the test. If there is one character in history that would make his fans mad if he is ever happy for a damn second, then there would be Spider-Man. The hero who goes through every single struggle there is in one's life, and yet constantly have to hold up to his responsibilities. A true inspiration, man. This is exactly why people love Spider-Man. One can look at him and see him or herself in his very shoes, cause Spider-Man would be going through something that you and I could be going through. That's what makes him the most relatable character, who is a fantasy with the powers of a spider swinging through New York. An amazing fantasy. In Spider-Man 2, Peter's struggles are at his very height. He comes home after getting fired from work to realize that it's his own birthday that day. He isolates himself from the people who care for him, his friends. His best friend despises him as he thinks Spider-Man killed his father. One of the heart-wrenching scenes in the movie is when Aunt May gives Peter a $20 bill when her house is literally in foreclosure for not paying the debt. Peter accepts it with a tough heart, and it just doesn't end there. The same night, MJ tells him that she is seeing someone else.
Seeing somebody now.
You mean like a boyfriend?
Peter, in a desperate attempt not to completely ruin his relationship with MJ, tells her that he'll come see her play finally.
I'm gonna come see your play tomorrow night.
The beautiful montage over Peter getting ready to go to the play is something that captures the first act of this movie perfectly. The Jet song Hold On plays in the background to the lyrics. You tried so hard to be someone that you forgot who you are, implying Peter is spending all his sleepless nights being hypervigilant, being Spider-Man, that he forgot who Peter is. Once again, those lyrics speak loud as Peter misses MJ's play as he had to stop a bunch of criminals on the way. A cool Easter egg that can be seen in the movie is the title of the play that MJ is performing at, which is The Importance of Being Earnest. And to be earnest is to be committed, which Peter can never be, as his life of being Spider-Man is looming over him. MJ looks at the empty seat and sees that Peter isn't there or anywhere to be seen. And Peter, who's disappointed with himself, sits outside the theater hoping to get a glimpse of MJ. As she finally comes out, there's a little bit of hope in Peter's face, which would eventually fade away to sorrow and pain as he sees her kiss her boyfriend. This shot is so poetic as he looks at them being happy with a broken heart. As police sirens pass by him, he runs away to be Spider-Man once again. One of the reasons I tell people when they ask me why I love Spider-Man, because he's a human being first. He is a human being before he's a superhero, a realistic human being with flaws and feelings. Peter has been Spider-Man for a while now, and the toll it took on him is finally catching up to him, both physically and mentally. He's losing his powers, tries to swing, and boom, suddenly his wrists don't shoot anymore. He falls off buildings that he tried to climb, and people think there is no explanation for Peter losing his powers, while they have been in front of us all this long. As we saw earlier, Peter's obsession with being Spider-Man, being solitary from relationships, not able to keep up with life, and being a literal insomniac, has deep connections to his mental health. Peter is someone who has lost people, from his beloved Uncle Ben and Norman, who saw Peter as his own son, Both of their deaths is directly caused by Peter's actions. And then we have Aunt May and MJ, who nearly died because of their association with Peter, making him feel more responsible and guilty. We can see throughout the movie that Peter keeps having flashbacks of Uncle Ben, furthermore indicating that Peter's trauma is consuming him inside out. The scene where MJ kisses her boyfriend right in front of Peter tipped the scale so much that we see Peter losing his powers for the very first time. And what more is a great indicator of trauma than someone losing their physical abilities or seeing changes in them? This happens again when MJ decides to marry John, while Peter just got slapped by his best friend for not giving up on Spider-Man. Peter falls and tries to rise one more time before deciding enough is enough. He sits through his flashbacks of Uncle Ben. Only this time, Peter tells Ben that he doesn't want to live his dreams anymore.
No, Uncle Ben. I'm just Peter Parker. I'm Spider-Man. No more.
Many may see this as Peter quitting being responsible, but there is more to that. This montage single-handedly makes this movie the best. You might call it cheesy, but I say that is exactly why it works. Peter giving up on being Spider-Man is now finally able to pull his life back together. He walks around knowing he doesn't have to care about a single thing anymore but himself. He attends his classes on time. He goes to see MJ's play and eats hot dogs like a champion.
You are different.
We as a viewer can't help but feel happy for Peter because he was going through so much hardship, now at last able to conquer his demons. As things sailed smooth, there was this obnoxious usher. When Peter was about to kiss MJ, Doc Ock busts the cafe and kidnaps MJ. Peter was knocked down by the debris, grunts out and rises up like he was possessed, tries his glasses back on, blur, and just like that, his powers are back. Even though there wasn't an explanation for this in the movie, the most prevalent theory was confirmed on why Peter had this web block.
You never had a web block? Because I run out of webs all the time.
I did actually. You said that. I was like, oh, I had a web block.
Whoa, why?
Existential crisis stuff.
Yeah.
You see, Peter, who had so much trauma that it affected his physical life by him losing his powers and being an insomniac, and his mental health by having these recurrent memories of the past. Peter being Spider-Man wasn't helping the situation as he crumbled within himself, while his love and his life all fell apart. This is exactly why Peter taking time for himself helped him the most. He was truly carefree and was healing on his own, both mentally and physically, allowing his powers to come back when he truly needed them. So did Peter give up on being responsible? No. What he did do is to do the right thing. This can be summarized by this beautiful line from Aunt May. Peter did give up on his dream of being Spider-Man to do the right thing, which in his case was to take this time for himself to heal. He did the right thing both for himself and for everyone who loves him. Spider-Man 2 is a movie about a man overcoming the extraordinary. He's anything but ordinary. It's a story of a man struggling with trauma and real-life problems and coming on top by doing the right thing. It's about a man finding the most important balance that he always needed, because you can be a superhero and still tussle to settle between. As Hightop says in his video, Spider-Man 2 is truly the most human superhero movie ever made. And even after 18 years, it still is undisputed. You can take out all the gorgeous and breathtaking action sequences from the movie, and it still tells you a story, the most important and a heartbreaking one at that, which would finally find redemption. And that is exactly why Spider-Man 2 is the greatest superhero movie of all time. A scene in this movie which makes me feel emotions that I've never felt before is the scene where MJ leaves her wedding and runs straight to Peter, still in her wedding dress. Peter on the other side, sitting thinking about how MJ is about to get married, is almost mind blown as he senses her standing right behind him. You can see the wide smile on his face, which he cannot control, as he knew exactly what just happened. But he controls it anyways and tells MJ that she shouldn't be here. MJ, who now sees Peter for himself and finally understood why he's been avoiding her, tells him that she'll never be alive with John or anyone except for Peter, the only one in her life who made her feel like herself, the only guy she truly loved. And that is the most perfect kiss in the entire trilogy, even better than the iconic upside down kiss, as this one was full of emotions and intimacy finally let go. But just in classic Spider-Man fashion, their kiss is broken off by the police scanner and Peter needs to go be Spider-Man. But this time, MJ understands. She runs to the balcony as Spider-Man gloriously swings away. And Raimi could have ended the movie right there, but no. He cuts off to the anxious look on MJ's face as she nervously awaits what lies in front of her.